Du er i øjeblikket en af de radioaktive og lytter til T-Radioen. Vores værter står klar til at give dig en smagsprøve på deres programmer og glæder sig til at møde dig. Vil du ikke gå glip af, når vi er live, så skynd dig at trykke på hjertet, så du følger vores side. Slå røven i sædet og giv en varm velkomst til vores næste program.
Hi, and welcome to the second show of How to Dane, a show about cultural differences. My name is Siri, and I'm 21 years old, and I'm from Holland. This summer, I decided to turn my life around, so I packed my bags, said goodbye to my typical Dutch life, and moved to Denmark. Without any Danish language or culture knowledge, apart from what I learned from binge-watching Netflix series as Rita and Borgen, I immersed myself in my new Danish life. The first few days, I just watched and learned. I almost threw up while trying to pronounce Danish syllables, got into some one-sided arguments with old Danish men on bikes who didn't appreciate my Dutch biking style, and made myself sad by converting grocery prices from Danish kroners to euros. But the more time I spent with the Danes, the more they started to fascinate me. Sometimes I just feel like asking my Danish friends and classmates, do you realize that some of your traditions are actually really weird? But still, I want to learn more about it. Who are these hygge-loving Vikings, and how do I become one of them? That's why I started this show, to find out how to Dane. Every week I invite a Danish expert. We start an open conversation about our cultural differences and ask all the questions you normally wouldn't ask in fear of being too direct. This week I invited my Danish classmate, PH. I figured since the reason I decided to move to Denmark altogether in the first place was my master's education, the program I wanted to do here, it made sense to talk about cultural differences within university education. Little side note with that, my experience with higher education has only been at really specific universities, so maybe we're talking about really specific universities, and it has only been at universities, so maybe it's more about universities than higher education in general. Well, I'm really excited to introduce my guest for today, PH, a bit more, and I'm also excited to see that there are again people actually listening and following my story on my journey to unlocking Danish culture. Welcome to all of you, thanks for listening, and enjoy this first song by Bakar, Big Dreams. Hi, and welcome back to our show How to Dane today about cultural differences within university education. And my guest for today is PH. Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Can you quickly introduce yourself?
Well, I'm 27 and I'm a classmate studying sustainable design at AU in South Harbor, where I also work as a student assistant at the moment. Yeah, and I enjoy going to the gym.
You enjoy going to the gym?
Yeah, being active and stuff.
Well, that's the thing we don't have in common, but something we do have in common is that we study the same program, indeed, at Aalborg University, but in Copenhagen. And I actually invited you today since you also have some experience with Dutch universities. And not just a Dutch university, no, my old Dutch university, the Technical University of Delft. Can you tell me a bit more about your experience there?
So my experience or the education?
The education, yeah, what were you doing there in general?
So I was taking elective courses at this study program, Complex System Engineering and Management. It was nice, totally different from what I'm used to. Right now we're doing like more personal lectures, I would say.
Yeah.
And in Delft, it's more general. Like you are hundreds of people.
It's a very big university. Yeah.
And the university in itself, it's much bigger than in Denmark, than what I'm used to. So it was more fun you can join other faculties and meet other people.
Because what faculty were you studying again?
I was at the, I can't get
it. I also don't know the name in English, but in Dutch we say TB, Technische Bestuurkunde, which is like political,
no. I can't.
Like engineering, but more the management side. A little bit like that, right? That was the faculty you were in. So that's a little side note, like we're both design students, but you weren't in the design faculty back then.
Yeah, so university haven't, I don't know, had an agreement yet, so we couldn't get into the design faculty where we actually belonged.
Yeah.
Me and my.
So you were the building next door, basically.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And I also asked you to prepare a little bit of an introduction question today, and I asked you to think about what the typical Dutch student looks like and behaves like, according to you, your experience.
Yeah. Okay, so first of all, they are all very tall.
Tall, yeah.
And if you don't see that, you will also hear it from them. Like, we are the tallest ones.
Yeah. Are we actually? Are we taller than the Danish?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
We're the tallest one in the world. As I heard, I don't know, Dutch people said. Then, I don't know, how you look like in general. So you kind of look like a mix of Danish people and German people, I would say. Personally, you're very open. You're more open than I would say Danish people are. I don't want to offend Danish people here, but I kind of speak for my personal experience. I tend to be more reserved than maybe Dutch people are. So that was really nice that everybody I met was really open and nice to me, kind to me. So I felt more at home.
You felt more at home. Yeah. So did you study with a lot of other Dutch students or also a lot of international students?
I would say the majority was Dutch people.
Dutch people, yeah. Just like me right now. We're also majority Danish people.
Yeah.
And then around 25%, not Dutch, international people.
Yes.
I'm the only Dutch person in our program. Okay, well, good to hear this overall view. And it's also funny because, of course, I also thought about the same question. Like, just to be fair, I should answer the same introduction question. What does a typical Danish student look and behave like, according to me? And it's funny because I actually came up with some of the same things you said right now.
Oh.
The thing about being more reserved and more closed off. Because in Denmark, in the beginning, it kind of feels like your classmates are more colleagues than they are your friends, kind of. That's the first thing you enter the room with. And in Holland, it can often be the other way around, you know? Like, you kind of come into a room and you expect everyone to be, like, tolerant. And if you had a party yesterday and you kind of hung over, you can just mention it. And here, everything felt a bit more reserved and closed off in the beginning. But the good thing about that is that people are also more serious in their studies. So if you're starting a project, everyone really wants to do that project, you know? You feel like Danish students are also a bit older. Yeah, we'll get back to that later. But like that's also a difference I really felt when I just arrived here. And yeah, what they look like. I don't really know why I asked that question because, of course, everyone looks different. But I would say like the typical Danish student I have in my head right now, like, has a name like, you know, like Lasso, or like this really Danish name, really blonde hair, you know, like they arrive. They also dress a bit more formal than we would do in Holland, I guess. And yeah, it's a bit like that. So that's maybe the first difference we already found, like the more formal and the more informal sides of being a student. One of the things I actually wanted to talk about also was one of the other differences I realized, which maybe also kind of speaks in the same area. But one of the differences I see is that Danish students appear to be a lot more free also. So maybe they are formal, but they are more free in what they do and what they don't do. We have a lot of very strict rules because they know, like, otherwise, you know, it's too free. So they make a lot of rules for us. You have to be at this lecture. You have to hand in this assignment at this time, whatever. And in Dutch unis, it therefore can sometimes feel like you're in a race to end your education as fast as possible. So how do you think about it? Do you think there's much pressure on Danish students to study really fast? Or...
Pressure? I would say no, because we tend to be also, as you said, older.
Yeah.
We don't rush into education. I think that a lot of people, they are using a lot of time. What do I like? Who am I? What do I want to do with my life? And then they match the education to that. That's why I also took like 4 gap years before I started university because I didn't know what I really wanted to do.
Yeah, but let's go a bit more into that
Yeah.
because I am the youngest student in our class. I'm 21.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know if you knew that, but
No,
I'm
I didn't know
21
that.
years old and I just started my master's and I feel like that's shocking to a lot of my Danish classmates that I'm so young and starting my master's.
Yeah.
What do you think? Like, what's the part that's so shocking for you? If
Maybe that, I don't know. For me, I needed those years to like kind of find myself. So I was just thinking, how can you just study from one place to another without taking gap years, or if you have, how did you do that?
because
I
it's
don't know.
kind of standard for Danish students to take gap years
Yes.
between high school and university, right?
And maybe also bachelor's and master's.
Bachelor's, masters.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you know any people that didn't take gap years that just went on?
Former classmate of mine did, and she's also very young. I think he's 21 as you, same as you. But that's not very common.
No,
No.
because you just kind
Yeah.
of believe as in Danish culture, there's just this belief like you should really think about what you want to do
Yes.
and then you start, right? And I was thinking because that does make sense with really specific studies. I know you did your bachelor in sustainable design engineering also, just
Yeah.
like our master's right now is also in sustainable design engineering. And you know, when I had to choose at the age of 18, I also wasn't sure about the whole sustainable design engineering part. But therefore, I took my bachelor's in industrial design engineering, which is a big, like, you know, like a bigger field.
Yeah.
And then you kind of, with your master's, go more into detail. So do you think there's a difference there? Or do you also have bachelor educations that are still really free and open?
Yeah, we still have those, but
Okay.
I don't know. Those kind of don't. I don't think they interest me enough. They are not specific enough for me, and that's why I didn't choose them.
But there are people choosing them.
Yeah,
So that's
I don't know. You can study communication. It's very broad and
yeah.
different ways you can go within that field.
Yeah. I'm
like that.
also just wondering, like, just also like, interrupt me when I'm going in the
it's
wrong
fine.
direction. But could it be that in Holland we maybe have this like this feeling of, oh, I'll just get started, and if I don't like it, I'll stop again, or I'll change my path when I start my masters or whatever. And in Denmark, you kind of really have to know who am I before even
Yeah.
starting, which seems like a lot of pressure to me also in some way.
I actually don't know. Here, I mean, you also get paid in the Netherlands for studying, right?
Oh,
Yeah?
that's
No?
a difficult topic. No,
No?
we don't. Not
Okay,
anymore.
because
No.
we get paid to study here, so I feel also the pressure is there. So you only get paid a certain number of years. So
How many years do you get paid? Do you know?
6 years.
6 years.
So you want to choose this, I don't know, when you study and what you study, with more, I don't know, you're thinking about it more.
Yeah.
Taking your time, thinking about this is the right time. Otherwise, you won't get paid, and that's really an issue for a lot of people. Also, especially in Copenhagen, where it's really expensive to live. Yeah.
I understand. So for you, making a wrong choice when you choose what to study is actually a really big deal then, because you lost some. Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that's
the
biggest one.
No, of course.
Yeah.
But therefore, you maybe feel this pressure of, okay, so like our society, no, our country is paying for my education, so I should really, choose a good one and put all my time and effort into it. Yeah.
I would say so.
Yeah. Well, that's funny to think about, because maybe that's also why, you all have figured out like, what do I really want? And then you start and whatever. Why your education can be more free than ours. Since everyone, like we come straight out of high school and we start. Of course, not everyone. You have people taking gap years. You have people doing some other stuff in between. But like for me, my experience was straight out of high school. We start university education. So yeah, maybe that's why we need more rules in education. Do you think so, or like?
Yeah, I would say I needed more rules if I started earlier.
Yeah.
Because I had some gap years, where I could go crazy and do my own thing. I became more mature by the age, and then, sorry, and then, I don't know, I take my education more seriously now than I would have before, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's something interesting to think about. Um, I just want to play a little song just to give our minds a bit of rest also. And for the people watching at home, the live stream actually also has a chat function. So if there's anyone watching right now who has a question for me or PH about Danish or Dutch student culture, or has something to share about student culture in their own country, please send it in the chat. Next song.
Then say the truth.
Okay, and we're back in the show about cultural differences between universities. And then we're comparing Denmark and Holland today because PH studied in Denmark and in Holland, and I studied in Holland and in Denmark after. So we're just talking about that a little bit. And the next thing I wanted to talk about, actually, we were talking about it during the song also, is project groups. We study design at a uni that has a really strong focus on group work. So project groups are just a really big part of our life right now. And also back in Delft, project groups were a big part of my life. Yeah, I just wanted to get into this process, and I thought, why not start with the beginning? So one of the things I found really weird when I started at a Danish uni was that we could make our own project groups. Yeah, I wasn't used to that at all. So do you think it's like a typical Danish thing to put the power into the hands of the students in such a way? Like,
I would say it's more common during the second year or third year, because usually they would put you into groups and you can get to know each other there.
okay.
So I don't know. They are saying the masters are higher, so now you're more independent. You
Okay,
are
you're
an
mature
adult,
enough.
yeah.
Okay.
So you can do it. That's why I think our
So it was
education chose to
also a
do
bit
that.
weird for you, like when in the second week of our masters they were
Yeah,
like, make some groups.
but I kind of got used to it on the first year because they did that.
Okay.
Yeah,
They
or
also,
the second year, sorry,
yeah.
of my bachelor's.
So it's just in
Yeah.
the real beginning they are like, okay, you don't know anyone, we'll help you a bit. Maybe? Is that the thought?
But I actually think it's a good idea, the way they are making groups, because they are saying, okay, what do you like? And do others like the same subject as you? So you can work on the same and have the same interests, and maybe, I don't know, the same expectations within the group. So
Yeah.
I think actually it's nice.
It does make a lot
Yeah.
of sense actually, because that was one of the things I kind of experienced when I was still at my Dutch university in Delft. We would just, you would come into a course and there would be like 400 people in the course. Like we started our year with 330 people, I guess, but it's also kind of common in Holland to having to do a course for the second time because you failed the first time. So then you would come into this course room with 400 people, like big lecture halls, and they would just say, this is your group number, and now you have to try to find your group in this classroom or whatever. So you would really be teamed up with really different people. And I didn't always like it because I was already into sustainability, and I ended up working together on a sustainable project with this guy who had both his parents working at Shell, the big oil company. So you just had to tackle a lot of these different things. And maybe it can be good, but maybe you can also think like, okay, but that guy is never going to end up in the same. Well, I don't think he is. Let's say it in a bit more friendly way, going to end up in the same kind of company I will. So that's maybe the other side a little bit. That's why I actually really liked it, just like you said. Yeah. It was a really open way of just like you're old enough to try to make your own groups and just find whatever you find interesting. Yeah. Did you actually also work in project groups during your time in Delft?
Yes. So I would say 50-50, project groups and individual things. Those groups were pre-assigned for us, and I don't know if I like that or not. I have like mixed feelings about it because working with people that have different interests and work a different way, maybe you can't agree on something, and you using a lot of time discussing stuff. Um, but also I learned a lot from that because you have to experience there are different people around the world, and you have to know how to work with them. So in that sense, I learned a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can
So
imagine.
I kind of liked it, and I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the things I also wanted to discuss, something I'm also really eager to learn about, is the way you kind of handle project groups and the rules and appointments you made. Because in Holland, I already mentioned it just before, but like in Holland, it wouldn't be abnormal for you to say like, okay, guys, I know we had a group meeting today, but I'm so hungover or whatever, like I can
Yeah.
come. How does that, like, as a Danish person, how does that make you feel?
As a Danish person, I would be kinda mad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that is not an excuse. I've have some classmates that were out drinking and come to school even though they were hungover.
Yeah.
Because that's how it works. Because that is not a legit excuse to not come to school. Either that or you would lie.
You would lie.
Yeah, I think people would lie
That they are sick.
before saying
Yeah.
the truth. If you're hungover.
It
Yeah.
already sounds like you're kind of working, like at work I would lie,
Yeah.
because that's such like unprofessional, whatever. But at uni in Holland, you would be really like, people would be. I wouldn't. I'm a really good student, but people would be really open about it. And yeah, do you think the difference between Danish student culture and Danish working culture is big, or what are those differences? I mean, of course, have you experienced Danish working culture in such a way, like really in an office or?
No, not really. Sorry, I can't really say something, but I have heard my friends, and it's more or less the same.
Yeah.
Of course, uni is way more fun. Yeah.
What's the fun part about? So, what do you think are the differences?
I think there's like a hierarchy in work.
Yeah.
And there's some people that you're kind of afraid of, and you have to obey some rules, stuff like that. You have to do the task on time, and you will work overtime. I mean, you also do that at university, but it's more, I don't know, freely.
Yeah.
Because the boss is yourself or your fellow students. So.
Yeah. So you kind of really feel that you are, pressure also if you start working, but right now it feels like you're kind of training for a working situation, really. So you treat each other already kind of professional.
Yes.
Also still kind of in a friendly way. You don't have the hierarchy, but there is a hierarchy, kind like studying in Denmark is way more professional than in Holland, I should say. Do you agree with me if I say
that? What if?
Like it feels more professional. So people just, if you make an appointment, you have to be there.
Yeah.
Like, you're really having this feeling of, I'm studying because I want to work one day in this field. So I should try to make the best out of it. And in Holland, I didn't always have that feeling. Sometimes you were just like, I don't really know. You were just there to finish the subject, to finish the education, to.
Okay. Maybe, but those I were in a group with was very, I don't know, engaged in what they were doing. So I wouldn't say that that's much of a difference in my experience.
Yeah, but maybe it's also like we should maybe like suggest it also that it's a difference between being a bachelor student and a master student.
Yes.
Because I was a bachelor student in Holland, of course.
Yeah, and I took master courses. Maybe that's a difference.
Yeah, maybe that's a difference. That could be it. But in general, we could say that studying in Denmark is slightly more professional and formal than it is in Holland. And one of the things I also didn't really experience here yet, but that for me is a really big part of university culture, is student clubs. So in Delft, we would have student clubs for everything and everyone. Like everyone was part of some kind of student club or student association. Like it could be the
Oh, I
chess
know that.
association, or it could be like whatever. I was really active in my study association, and we just had a Wednesday bar, like you have the Friday bars and things like that. So I was just wondering, are there even student groups like that in Denmark, or?
There is the coffee thing
Yeah.
on Wednesdays. So the thing is that our university in Copenhagen is smaller than the one in Aalborg. So
Yeah.
we don't have the same clubs and associations as they do. And I would say also the University of Copenhagen, they have more than we do. And it's up to the students themselves to create one. And I think there has been, I don't know, not enough initiatives.
So it's
from the students.
always within one university.
Yes.
Because in Delft, we also used to have over all faculties and even over different universities and higher educations, you would have like fraternities, things like that. You don't really have that, or?
Not really. It's more, I don't know, maybe it's the Danish research thing. So this university, and only for those who attend this university can attend this thingy that is created event.
Yeah, maybe it's also something with the fact that you start studying when you're older. Like, when did you start your bachelor education? Like
24.
24. So you had like a lot of gap years where you kind of, you also said it yourself, you kind of explored.
Yeah.
Well, I started at 18. I just moved out of my parents' house, and I was just really eager to like get to know a lot of different people and like being associated with, you wanted to fit in somehow, and you wanted to experience like the student life. So there was also some pressure of some kind to have a lot of fun. Well, maybe you had some time to have a lot of fun in your gap years also.
Yeah, I did have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That was the only thing that I did, basically. And I've seen what you mentioned, that you having a lot of fun on your bachelor's. I've seen crazy parties in Delft where the bachelor students were really, really drunk.
Yeah.
They had to do some challenges and stuff
And
like
hearing
that.
this from a Danish, I've now experienced Danish drinking culture. Like, they're also not too bad at it themselves, but
yeah, we have some different traditions. Not
Yeah.
like that, but we do drink like for a week when we finish high school.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Depends on when you're graduating, doing the final week.
So you're maybe already like a bit more calm by the time you start university.
A bit, but we like to, I don't know, we like to party, of course. We
Yeah.
drink a lot of beer and stuff like that. But sometimes it's hard to creating parties that can, I don't know, where a lot of people can attend. We're not a big class, but it's really hard to arrange parties in that size.
Yeah, and in Delft we have all these like student clubs and student associations.
And they will do it.
They will do it. Like that's everything they do.
Yeah.
Organize all the
in
big
our
parties.
class, it's just some students that do it.
Yeah. So in our class right now are 50 people. No, 45.
45.
Think. Something like that. So we would have parties. It's of course Corona time, so we don't. But normally we would have parties with the 45 people.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't go partying with like the whole university at a No.
Maybe we will make a bigger party with the other bachelor students who are also studying sustainable design engineering. Yeah,
something like that. Actually, the next song that's on our playlist is, I think, a song that also makes you think of those kind of parties, right? The small ones with your class. Yeah. Do you want to introduce the song?
Yeah, so I sent a song to Siri to play. It's Angels by Robbie Williams, because everybody knows that song, and when you're at a party and it plays, everybody can sing along, and it feels just really nice. So you're like a whole family just rocking back and forth with your friends in your arms. It's really nice.
Yeah, so really this inner circle of your classmates singing this.
It's really nice.
Well, enjoy it. Hi. I hope the music is working well, so please tell me if it's a bit messy with the music. But we're back on our show about cultural differences in universities. I'm talking with PH today, my Danish classmate, who also studied in Holland. So we both have this experience of studying Dutch and Danish universities. Well, we already had this really open discussion. Thanks so much for sharing everything you did. But I also prepared some dilemmas for you today. So basically, I'll give you two options, and you have to choose one. So, for example, what do you like better, apples or bananas? And then, yeah, but of course, then it's the university edition this time. So, first dilemma is, would you rather be a student until you're 40 years old or stop being a student at the age of 23?
The second one.
The second one?
Yeah, I can't
Yeah?
study forever.
So not forever.
Not forever. Even though it's really nice, and my friends, those already done or graduated a long time ago, they just enjoy student life because you won't get it back. It's the best time ever. And also, I have some friends that are still studying because they don't really want to finish. And I have a brother that, if he could, he would study forever, but
Yeah.
he can't.
But you wouldn't want to.
I wouldn't want to.
No, okay.
No.
Well, I would choose the same thing. Also because probably I will stop being a student at 23. That's
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
like I will be 23 when I finish my master's, and you never know what happens. But yeah, that would also be my choice. Yeah. Okay, second dilemma is would you rather score high marks at your university education or have a really busy social student life?
Oh, that's really hard. Oh, that's really hard. I don't know.
What makes it hard for you?
Because I kind of want both.
You want both?
Yeah. I think you can do both. Okay, I would say it like this. I would choose the social life because when you are having a good social life, it doesn't have to involve alcohol. You're feeling better, and then you can also get higher marks.
Okay.
Like that.
It doesn't feel really fair that you didn't choose one of them, but both of them.
I chose the first one.
Yeah, okay. Well, I think, but that maybe also makes me a really Dutch student. I think, and I have to say, I also really care about my marks. My friends know that I can get really stressed if I don't get good marks. But if I really had to choose between one of them, I think I would choose for the busy social life. Because for me, my student life has also been, like just this free period where I can do whatever I want, like a Sunday I can just take a day to make a radio program like this.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I also want to learn things. So, do you feel like there's a lot of, how important do you think marks are for the Danish students?
I think it's it's very important. There's a lot of pressure, so people are now saying that remember that it's only education, it's only a mark, it doesn't define you, stuff like that, because a lot of people are getting anxiety about the marks that they are not good, and so they're doing everything they can to get a higher mark, even when it's not healthy anymore.
Yeah,
I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's maybe also a difference
well.
because in Holland, I don't know how you experienced it, but
Yeah.
often we would be like, okay, I just want to pass the course, because I want a paper in the end. I want my diploma.
Yeah.
But like in between, like if the mark wasn't that good, like we have this saying where like a 6, so a 6 out of 10 is when you pass a course in Holland. We would say like a 6 is like a student 10, like you try you try just hard enough, not too hard.
Yeah, I mean this doesn't apply for everyone, but a lot of people also say that anything above 202 is the same as 6. It's a waste of time.
Maybe we can get a little bit into the grading system. So like if you quickly had to explain it, because it's still really confusing for me. How, like, what is good, what is bad on your grading system?
Okay, so the average is 4 because you, or what is?
So what's the lowest you can get, basically?
2.
2.
02 it's called.
02.
Yeah.
Okay, and the highest you can get is?
It's 12.
12.
the grading system. Yeah,
and the
that makes
rest
sense.
just works like.
So you can also get a 0, 0, a double 0, because you haven't passed, and then you can also get a -3 if you didn't attend at all.
Oh, that's if you don't show up at all.
Yeah, it's
you
like,
get in the minus.
what?
Okay.
Yeah. I would say I won't be happy if I get less than 7, but I would aim for more.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say
And
that.
when do you pass your course? Everything above
0, 2.
Okay, everything
Yeah.
above 0 2.
Yeah.
Oh, so there's actually a
So
lot
it's
going on
called
there.
-3, 0, 0, 0, 2, 4, 7, 10, and 12.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense at all because I had to explain it in Delft, and you guys just we're grading from 1 to 10, and there's not a lot of people getting 10.
Yeah.
If not any.
No, 10 is like really special.
Impossible. Yeah.
Then you have to make like 0 mistakes.
Yeah,
And in
exactly.
projects, I would say it's impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They told us
Yeah.
themselves.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's go on with the last would you rather. So, last question, would you rather be a teacher in Denmark or in Holland? A university teacher, I'm talking about.
I don't know actually. Maybe in Denmark, just because I know Denmark more.
You know
yeah,
okay.
I know it's
Yeah.
more familiar. Even though that the two countries are so familiar, but I can speak Danish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, my country is of course Holland, but I would still say Denmark also. Actually.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
because as a teacher, you always want people to be really interested in what you're saying and whatever. Like, really focused on. Okay, I want to become a designer, and I'll do everything for it, whatever. And really interested. And in my experience, the Danish students, because you're a bit older when you start, you're more interested in the program you're doing.
Yeah.
And, like, I think a lot of Dutch teachers have these days, especially maybe on Fridays, when everyone went out on Thursdays, then they have these days where they just have, like, this group of 18-year-olds really hungover, really tired, like, no one is paying attention. So, yeah. So maybe I would prefer being a Danish teacher. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's play a song before we go on with the next segment, which is it weird or is it Danish? My favorite part of the show. Enjoy the song. Hello and welcome back to How to Dane, about cultural differences. This time about cultural differences in university education. We've come to the last part of the show already for today. It's my favorite part of the show also. Is it weird or is it Danish? I started this part because sometimes I see Danish people doing something really weird, in my opinion, and then I'm just not sure whether they are actually weird or is it just part of Danish tradition that I don't know of. And I don't want to offend anyone, so normally I don't ask them directly, like, are you weird or are you Danish? So that's why I started this part. Where I will describe something weird I saw in the streets of Copenhagen or in my life, and I will ask my Danish expert of the week, this week PH, my Danish classmate, is it weird or is it Danish? Well, are you ready, PH? Yeah. Okay, so we have a teacher, and she's actually one of the most interesting teachers I have ever had in my life. She gives us lectures once a week, 4 hours. And she sounds like she does know what she's talking about, like you probably know who I'm talking about already. She's a really good teacher, but during her lectures, she's also swearing a lot. Like, it wouldn't be abnormal for her to go like, and fucking hell, then this and this company just made a really shitty sustainable transition, whatever. For me, that is a bit weird, not because I think teachers can swear at all in their life, but just, in such a professional setting like giving a lecture, you wouldn't swear as much as she does. So, what do you think? Is it weird or is it Danish to swear like really a lot during a lecture?
I think it's Danish.
You think it's Danish?
Actually, I didn't notice this because it's so Danish that I don't even notice it anymore. Yeah. I think a lot of people do that.
You don't even notice. Yeah, just your way of
I
talking.
didn't notice that you do that all the time. So that's kind of funny.
Okay, so it's funny. It's just really Danish to say.
I would say that.
Do you think it has something to do with like being a bit? Yeah, I don't really know. It's just Danish.
Yeah,
You swear.
I think it is. I swear a lot myself. So.
Oh, you also swear
yeah.
a lot. Yeah, okay, well, good to know. Thank you so much for today, PH. I learned a lot about different university cultures, and I had a really good time talking to
Me
you.
too. Thank you for inviting me.
Also, thanks everyone for listening. I hope to see you next week with a new How to Dane.